Day 2 of SEC Media Days officially winding down. For those of you watching right now on Twitch and on YouTube, this is usually how I start the program, okay? Just a little secret between me and you, those of you watching at the moment. But don't worry, he is in the building somewhere around the second level. A lot to get to here in day 2, as today, boy, the Pirate was as entertaining as you would think he was, especially with his opening remarks in the main media room that basically just said, I'm here to take questions. It was Bama, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and South Carolina, but Alabama took center stage this morning. In fact, on Talking Ball, we had Will Anderson on our airwaves this morning. Jordan Battle joined Tom Abraham midday, and of course we're back here on Radio Row, Wes.
Man, what a day, right? I think we've been on, you and I have been doing interviews since about noon.
Yes, there is a lot to sift through.
Yes. But a great day, exciting day. I thought yesterday was a lot of fun with Kiffin. You get more, and the people around here, you get so many stories.
Yep.
Did an interview with Coach Cutcliffe, and I think I'm falling in love with him. What a man. He is always respected him, but I had some questions, and I have even more questions from those questions.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I look forward to he looked like he was disappointed that we had to leave, but the girl was giving you the high sign.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, hopefully we'll get to talk to him some more during the season. Look forward to that. But, yeah, I thought maybe the 2 dumbest questions I've ever heard asked Coach Saban today. One, a Wall Street Journal reporter said, why don't you like the NIL, right?
Yeah, it's where has she been?
Where she's been, and then the question about the reporters. What advice would you give those 4 reporters? I guess he's trying to promote the Texas game. I don't know if he was a Texas reporter. That obviously the reporter from Austin flew here to ask him about the. I mean, come on. So anyway, Coach Saban, I don't think really likes reporters that much, although he claims he does because they promote the game and this or that. I'm not sure he really likes us. But anyway, I've been doing this 10 years, I guess, now. This is the 10th media day for me. I don't know how many you've set some kind of record, I guess. But I always enjoy it. I dread it coming, kind of, because it's not in my schedule, I guess you'd say. But I always enjoy it. And
24 for me. This
24.
Is 24.
And Tom's done 23, and Scott's done how many?
A lot.
I think I've done more than Drew. But anyway.
It just means I'm getting older.
Yeah. Well, it beats the alternative.
It does. It does.
But, it's just so enjoyable to see everybody.
My favorite part is getting to talk to the athletes. And, I mean, we spoke with Buki.
Buki, yeah. Well, I think we're going to play that later.
That's Nathaniel Watson, the linebacker from Mississippi State.
From Maplesville, Alabama, home of Tommy Agee.
That's right.
So, good kids. I mean, these kids, they don't bring the bad kids to media days.
No,
they're always good kids.
You got to earn your
earn your way here. And it's the leaders of the team, and absolutely, you're right. You enjoy those kids, but I enjoy everything about them. Bill Hancock. Who's had Bill Hancock and T. Bob Hebert all at the same time? I mean, he came back over here today. I think Bill enjoyed it more than anybody.
Yeah.
He came back over here and talking about
he's across the way right now.
Across the way doing the interview. I guess he's doing
on
remote.
Outkick. At the moment. So
Anyway, it's just unbelievable all the people that are here, and I truly enjoy it.
All right, so you talked about the dumbest questions
Yes.
to Nick Saban. Here is my question to Bryce Young. You feel free to hammer me if you'd like
Oh,
to.
God.
Hey, Bryce. Steve Moulton, WZZN out of Huntsville. I asked you last year about talking to Mac Jones and what kind of advice he was giving you, and you told me you wouldn't tell me what he gave you as advice. So what kind of mentor has Mac been to you? And finally, your shoes, even though we can't see them, I'm guessing you didn't pull those off the rack.
Well, as far as Mac, learning under Mac, it's been a lot. It's been extremely helpful. Being able to just observe and be around him my freshman year, him being kind of my intro to college football, just seeing the process he had, seeing how he carried himself, seeing his approach towards the game, seeing how smart he was, how quickly he was able to process. That was really big for me. And then, as far as being a mentor, him being open and him being able to talk to me. Whenever I had a question, he'd always be there to answer. He was always sharing his process because he wanted me to be successful after him, which I genuinely appreciate. It definitely means a lot. So he's definitely meant a lot for me. He's been really, just being able to watch him and still now, even if I have a question, I want to text him, he'll still always respond. He'll still text to check up on me, so that means a lot to me. And as far as the shoes go, I low-key did kind of get him out the rack. Like I got him from there. I got them from a kind of like a high-end store, but no, they're not custom, nothing crazy. But thank you for noticing. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a stupid question. Ask a man about his shoes.
I couldn't help it because he had looked like slip-on shoes, but they had these bedazzled little spikes on them all over.
We're at media days. We're not at Fashion Week.
I couldn't help but notice. So you're telling me a morning show host down in Birmingham would like that question?
Probably ask it too. That's why I don't like it. Anyway,
fair enough.
I would have. I would want to talk to Bryce about what he's done to make himself better in the off season. What specifically? What have you worked on? What do you have to get better? Because if you're not, everybody's figuring right now, watching film, on how to make him uncomfortable and throw interceptions. Right? I mean, everybody's figuring out how to beat Alabama and Bryce Young, and what's he doing to better his game? Be interesting to me.
Incidentally, Friday of this week will be our 9th anniversary of The Drive. And if you have followed us for any length of time, you know there's a couple of people I go out of my way to listen to said interviews. That would be Bill Belichick. That would be Lane Kiffin. And that would be
Nick Saban. We play every
Yeah,
Nick
well,
Saban.
I know, but the ones I enjoy listening to, Mike Leach. Mike Leach.
Yeah, but Mike Leach we used to listen to every week.
Yeah, when he was at Washington State.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that he's front and center here at SEC Media Days, here's a little back and forth between Mike Leach and the media in the main media room.
Coach, we're going to go back here to the right side. Standing up. There we go.
Robert Cessna, the Bryan College Station Eagle. Mike, what's your thoughts on USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, and what do you think is going to happen to your old Pac-12 conference?
I don't know exactly, and a guy asked me something like that before. The biggest surprise in college football would be if there's no surprises, but I would say that's a pretty big one. And this is just one guy talking. I mean, I don't know. These are questions I have. The question I have is one, if the Pac-12 does manage to stick together, how much does it or does it help Cal and Utah get more recruits in Southern California? And then the other is, and I've been on long trips like that, UCLA and USC have to take 5 a year across 2 or 3 time zones, and I don't think they're going to play all those games at noon, say. I bet you they play a bunch of them at night, and and then they have to do it 5 times a year, and then the rest of the Big Ten has to do it less than 1 time every other year. So I'm kind of curious how it'll unfold, and and I'll be here to watch it, and maybe such a great idea, everybody will do it.
Coach, we'll go right in front of you, second row.
Thanks, Coach Colin Wilson with the Action Network. As a master of the air raid and doing it for so long, is there a correlation to time off, bye weeks, or before bowl games, getting the air raid out of sync, or does it just an anomaly, or does it ever start slow? How does the air raid get affected by bye weeks and time off?
Well, I've seen it go both ways, and I've seen bye weeks pretty much go both ways with everybody. I think that, I've had bye weeks where, we're just ridiculously explosive, and I've had other ones where it was tough to get out of the chute. I think that, you just have to maintain the focus. Just maintain the focus, and everybody's got control over that to a point, but I think it needs to be a team unified deal. And I've seen it go both ways. I do think it can make things a little more extreme.
Hey, Coach, we'll go back over here to our left on the aisle.
Mike, you were talking there about the Pac-12 a little bit. I guess, are you excited to get back? I think it's week 2. You guys are playing at Arizona, and I guess how do you prepare for playing? I think it's a 10 p.m. kickoff in Starkville while you guys are in Arizona.
You don't prepare for it at all. You go there. You go there, win the game, and get on the plane, sleep the best you can. Have later meetings on Sunday, and then put it in and do it again.
Okay, we'll go here to the right side, coming up from behind you on the other end. Here we go.
Mike, John Clay with Aero Leader in Lexington. Talking about the air raid, how much has your particular version of the air raid changed, if at all, since you and Hal were together in Lexington?
It has. That's hard for me to gauge because, some of these changes are gradual over the years. And, some I forgot we changed. Some I forgot when we changed it. Some I could tell you kind of clearly. If we adopt a new play, I've always tried to cut one that we have so that so we can control the package and practice and execute it, because execution's most important. You're better off having too small of a package than too big a one. Often it's like techniques or a tag or an adjustment that may be changed, or perhaps the way you practice it. It's something you try to grow and build on, all the time. Whether it's, watching film, everything from high school through to the NFL, and just try to figure. We used to call it, the whole find a better way to build the mousetrap,
We'll take one final question right in front, second row, Brett.
Hey, Mike. Brett McMurphy with the Action Network. With all of the conferences growing, 16 teams, maybe even bigger, are you optimistic for your 64-team playoff to ever get here?
That may be a conference championship you're referring to. I don't know. It's at some point. I'm beginning to lose track of what's a league and what's a conference, and what's a division. The more the merrier, I guess. And I'm not against any of it. And then, as far as playoffs, there's a lot of models, and my thoughts on the playoffs are well documented. But we have a great committee thinking about it, considering it, and I do think it's steadily improved. So,
all right, Coach Leach, thank you for your time this afternoon.
All right, thank you very much.
you didn't play the part where they said for his opening statement. It says,
Oh, you want me to go back
yeah,
there?
that was awesome.
So
because the over and under, you had said
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
And
here's a little bit of
under.
Greg
Same
Sink.
topic. He's an author of 2 books. Provides, I've been told, outstanding Netflix recommendations, although he's never shared those with me. Is an expert on the best barbecue in town, and also is a world traveler. So this year, Colombia and Panama. Last year, an African safari. The head football coach at Mississippi State University, Mike Leach.
The slow walk up the steps.
Yes, sir.
The yes, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Any questions?
That was his opening statement.
But Mr. Abraham did like the smaller package is greater than a bigger package.
He couldn't. Yeah.
Answer.
I think that he can identify with that more.
Oh boy. We are going to hear from David Cutcliffe in the program today as Coach Cut. He joined us about a month ago and thoroughly enjoyed that visit, enjoyed this visit equally as much. That is going to come up in hour number 2. We will also hear from Jordan Battle as well as Will Anderson as they sat at this very table earlier today as Bama had the early start time. Now, to tell you what, since it was Alabama out of the gate, I thought Nick Saban had better questions in the electronic room than in the main media room. So I'm going to replay not the fact that I had a question in the electronic room and not the main media room, but the overall questions and the back and forth. There was just more meat on the bone in the electronic room, and I'm going to play that on the other side of our first time out. And let's go ahead and do that right now so we can play that full 16 minutes on the other side. in Atlanta. That was entertaining as Juan Soto comes away with the title. And so yet another person from the Eastern Division side of the National League comes away with that championship.
So he was at rookie camp with my son-in-law, Jared. That's been on the show, yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And
yeah, I remember
he just turned down $455 million.
I know. So he said that he was the best player he'd ever seen.
I can believe it.
And and he went up his rookie year, got called up his rookie year, and has been up there ever since. So.
Nick Saban took center stage this morning, and here's what he had to say in the electronic media room.
Okay, Coach Saban is ready, and we will go straight to questions. Coach, on your right, third row.
Tyler Shaw with KBTX and College Station. Nick, do you feel like things are resolved between you and Jimbo Fisher, and are you concerned at all with the direction of college football with the way NIL is right now?
Well, first of all, I have no issues or problems with Jimbo. He's done a great job at A&M. He did a great job for us. I always take criticisms or whatever in a positive way to self-assess me personally in terms of maybe there is something that I could do better. And so any comments that anybody makes, you or any coach, I always take into consideration. So, but there is no issues or problems. I've spoke on this subject of, name, image, and likeness is a great thing for players, and I'm all for players having the opportunity to create whatever value they can create for themselves. And our players did extremely well last year. I think they made over $3 million in name, image, and likeness. And but I do think that the concerns are, there has to be some guidelines that sort of protect competitive balance, in how we do this. And the advent of collectives has created a way for third parties to make contributions to marketing organizations who can create opportunities for players, which I think is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Creates opportunities for players. That's a good thing. I think when it's used in recruiting and players start making choices and decisions based on promises that are made in name, image, and likeness, I'm not sure that is a good thing. So I do think there needs to be some guidelines, in that. And I think there needs to be transparency and, how all that's done. And I do think there needs to be some protection for players when it comes to people who represent them and third parties who are involved, people who get between, the money and the player, because, those people have a responsibility and obligation to professionally represent the players in a first-class way. And, right now we have no guidelines for, any of these things. And I think, that's a bit of a concern.
To your left, front row, Coach.
Hey, Coach, Jacques Doucet, WAP-TV in Baton Rouge. So many great coaches in this league already. I just want to get your thoughts on Brian Kelly from Notre Dame coming to LSU and what he brings to the conference.
Brian Kelly is an outstanding coach, really good person. We played Notre Dame a couple times in the playoffs at Alabama, and their teams are always extremely well coached, very competitive, had the right kind of mindset in terms of how they went out there and performed and how they played, very disciplined in terms of how they went out and executed. So I have the utmost respect for, Brian Kelly and the job that he'll do at LSU.
To your right, Coach, second row.
Coach, last week, Anwar Richardson, OrangeBloods.com. Last week at Big 12 Media Days, Coach Sarkisian said he wouldn't be there without you. I wondered if you maybe talked about the relationship that you had with Sark when he was on your staff, why you decided to bring him on, and maybe talk about the game that you guys will be traveling and playing in Texas in week 2.
Yeah, well, Sark did, is one of the finest coaches that we've ever had on our staff, did an outstanding job. does a good job with player relations, very well organized, very good play caller on game day. Just did a fantastic job. So really excited for him and his family that he got the opportunity to go to Texas, and I know they're going to have a really challenging team. For us next year, it's going to be a very competitive game, which I'm sure their players are looking forward to, and our players are looking forward to, which is what makes college football great. But I have a really good relationship with Sark. He always very, very respectful of the head coach, our relationship, the principles and values of the organization that he sort of instilled in the players and reinforced in a positive way. So I can't say enough good things about Sark and how he contributed to the program and the success that I think he'll have at Texas.
Front row here, and then we'll go to the gentleman next.
Good morning, Coach. E.P. Stedham, WHEP, Foley, Alabama. Coach, you've scouted hundreds, if not thousands, of players in your career. Can you recall those initial thoughts about Will Anderson Jr. and Bryce Young and the players they've become at Alabama?
Yeah, well, Bryce was an outstanding player, in high school. I think they won a state championship, lost the state championship in the finals, but he was very productive, very, very collected in how he sort of led his team and the choices and decisions that he made, and played the position a lot like a point guard in terms of how he distributed the ball in the right places to the right people at the right time and very accurately. He's got all the right stuff when it comes to the kind of competitor he is, the kind of preparation that he does, the work ethic that he has to continue to try to improve. So I can't say enough good things about the kind of player he was in high school and his attitude about how he's developed, as a college player. Will Anderson, we thought for us, because we play a 3-4, was a perfect fit, for the outside linebacker position, which, if you don't play a 3-4, some of those guys have to become defensive ends or they have to become stand-up inside stack backers. So guys like Will Anderson can make a tremendous impact on our team. And he was an outstanding player in high school. But here's another guy that has A+ character, A+ work ethic, really good leadership qualities in terms of the example that he sets and how he impacts and affects other people in a positive way. And he's also a hard worker and a guy that's driven, every day to try to improve and be the best player that he can be. So you're talking about talented guys that have all the right stuff to develop their talent to be the best that they can be. And these guys have tremendous pride in performance. And I could never been happier with two guys in terms of what they mean to the program, how they've represented the program, what they've done to impact the people around them in the program.
Front row, Coach, left.
Hey, Coach. Steve Moulton, WZZN out of Huntsville. I was wondering if you could comment on the secondary play, especially Kool-Aid, Kyrie, and what Eli Ricks brings to the table as well for you, Coach.
Well, I think that's a work in progress. Kool-Aid has been injured. Kyrie was injured. So those guys have had limited work from spring practice, until now. Eli Ricks is a guy that started in this league, and he has to, sort of prove that he has a good understanding of what we want him to do and how we want him to do it and why it's important to do it that way. But I do think that those three guys' development is going to be critical to, the success of our team. And I'm not disappointed in where they are right now, but I do think we need to continue to make progress at that position if we're going to get the kind of consistency and performance that we need to do the things that we'd like to do defensively.
Front row, coach, to your right. Go ahead.
Hi, Coach. I'm Dick Cox with Indy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting. Coach, if somebody did not know anything at all about Nick Saban, what would be the most important thing you would want them to know?
How well I clean house. I've been cleaning house, on vacation. I get a list every day. I try to play golf in the morning. Miss Terry gives me a list when I get back, and run the sweeper, take out the garbage, pledge the refrigerator. Nobody knows how well I do all those things.
On the left, coach, back row.
Good morning, Coach. Jacob Goins from ESPN 1067 in Auburn. You have Bryce Young coming back after winning the Heisman Trophy last year, but of course falling short in the national championship game. What do you expect to see different from Bryce Young from last year to this year on the field?
I don't really expect anything in terms of what I want to see differently. I want Bryce to maintain the right mindset in terms of, how he prepares, how he practices, how he impacts the players around him, because that will have a significant impact on how well he can play, because, quarterback is a difficult position to play if the players around you don't play well, whether it's the receivers, the offensive line, the ability to run the ball, create balance. I just want Bryce to just stay in the right mindset of what he needs to do to be the best player that he can be, and to be forward thinking in terms of the things that he needs to do to make the progress to create value for himself. Because I'm sure that, Bryce would love to be a quarterback in the National Football League, and I think, how he does this year will, have a significant impact on, that part of how he develops his career. And we certainly want to do everything that we can to enhance that and help him, develop the skill set and the people around him to be able to have the kind of production that will enhance his opportunities in the future.
Coach, to your right, second row.
Hi, Coach. Michael Giddens with the Warpar Auburn. The SEC West has amassed some of the best coaches in the country. Can you talk about what kinds of things you're doing as a coach to stay ahead of the curve, having to coach against so many good coaches week in and week out? And given some of the marquee moments the Iron Bowl has produced over the years, do you miss Gus Malzahn?
Look, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Gus. I thought Gus did a fantastic job, beat us, more than I'd like to remember, and did it because he was a great coach, a great play caller, has made a significant impact on the game of college football in terms of some of the things that he's implemented through the years. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for Gus. The Iron Bowl was crazy. It was a crazy game last year. Bryce did a great job in the last drive to be able to tie the game. And I think the most important thing was the 2 sacks that he didn't take and got rid of the ball so he didn't get sacked because we didn't have any timeouts. And people sometimes don't realize that. They look at the completions, whether it's 4th down, 3rd down, touchdown pass, whatever. I think it's one of the greatest games in college football, and one of the most difficult places to play when we go there and play it. So have a lot of respect for the program and the people in it, and know that we really have to continue to hire good coaches, have great energy and enthusiasm in what we do to make changes that is going to help us, not really stay ahead of the curve, but just be able to understand things that people are doing in the game, so that we put our players in the best position to be able to have a chance to be successful when they go out on the field and compete against it.
That is Nick Saban in the electronic media room.
Got a lot more out of that than we did in the other.
Oh my gosh!
Question, yeah.
Oh my gosh! If you want to be put to sleep tonight, Just turn on Nick Saban in the main room. Mercy. Ooh. Ooh. So the guy
the
that
questions
asked
were awful.
The guy that asked the question about Nick Saban cleaning up house,
right,
asked the same question to Mike Leach, and he did so to start the session. Of course, no opening statement.
All right, Coach Leach, we'll go straight to questions. We'll go right here in the front row to your right.
Coach, I'm Dick Cox with Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting, and I'm hesitant about asking you this question. I've gotten a variety of answers today on this, though. Even Coach Saban shared his deepest thing, too. What is the most important thing you would want people to know about you? Coach Saban wanted us to know that he was a good sweeper and he did his housework for his wife and checked off the list, but what would be the most important thing that you would want people to know about you?
Wow. Shoot, there's some days I just assume they don't know anything, you know. Well, he's got housework covered, doesn't he? Well, I don't know. I don't have one. I would. Well. I guess curious about a lot of things, and then try to learn as much as you can in the process of that, you know. But you're not going to learn much unless you're curious. And then, and I say it some. I always try to remind myself it's what you learn after you know everything that counts, you know. So just constantly try to learn and improve.
We'll go to your left in the back.
That's my boy.
Him, but it stumped him for a while.
Yeah, you had to think about it there for a second.
Yeah.
Ryan Fowler is set to join us at the top of the hour. We'll also hear from David Cutcliffe in hour number 2, but both 2 out of the 3 student athletes sat down at this table from the University of Alabama. We're going to hear from Will Anderson and Jordan Battle on the other side of our final timeout here in hour number 1, live from SEC Media Days. who conduct our zone deals.
I got you. Yeah.
I digress. Will Anderson spoke with Trudy Arman and Scott Tyson this morning. Here is that conversation.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. How are you guys doing?
How does it feel to be here in Atlanta and knowing that as you make the rounds here, the start of fall camp is just around the corner. You don't have to talk anymore about the coming year. You don't have to talk about anything. You actually get to put the pads on and play.
It feels great, man, just to go out there and start hitting people again and flying around and having fun and being energized with my brothers. That's all I'm looking forward to, so it's been great.
We actually were talking about this a couple of minutes ago in our first segment, Will, and he asked me, Scott did, what would be my first question for you? And I guess with all you accomplished last year, and I think we all believed you should have been in New York, you should have been a Heisman candidate, but you were the consensus national defensive player of the year. In your mind, but the way you're wired, what is the part of your game that you think you need to improve the most heading into this junior year?
The part I probably need to improve most probably is my dropping it space area and stuff like that. Yeah. And I just want to get better on my counter moves as well. But other than that, those are like the big things I've been hitting on this offseason. I know me and Coach Saban talked, and those are like two of the biggest things that he just told me I need to work on with just in space and, finish with my counter moves a little better. So that's what I've been working on.
When you watch film or you watch it with the coaches, how is that? How does that go? I mean, did you just walk in and sit down? Because we hear players talk about this all the time. Oh, yeah, I got to go watch film, or I watch film with these coaches. How interactive is that? Take us through the process of actually watching film and trying to get better.
It's very interactive. As soon as I come in, I already have a notebook and pencil with me because I already know he's going to have a couple of notes for me, and then he's going to go send me off to go write some notes and come back and report to him on what I see. But it's very interactive. This is my first year with Coach Hutzler from Ole Miss. He's our new coach. Yeah. But when I was with Coach South's area, he had cut-ups of, rundowns, pass downs, screens, third down, second down, first down. So we all had like individual cut-ups, and then we would go watch full games, to see tendencies, what they got beat with, what they didn't get beat with and stuff like that. So it's very interactive. And then he'll stand up sometimes and, we'll go through things like that, go through different pass sets and other things like that. So, watching film is very interactive, a lot of hands-on.
It's not just putting it on, hitting play. There is a lot
pause, to it. Get up. Let me show you this. Let me show you how this works. So very hands-on as well. So, but it's great. I love it. I love every moment of it.
Well, and the fans are going to want to hear this too, because we know Coach Sal is still in an off-field role. He's been a mentor to you. He helped develop you as a player. But what have you taken from Coleman Hutzler? Every coach brings something a little different stylistically to the position. I know schematically it's not going to change, but how is he coaching you?
He's coaching me great. He's done a great job. He's young. He's energized. I think what he brings to the room is just youth and just more energy to the room and stuff like that. And I think that's, why he's there. But, it's been great. He's been a great coach. He's taught me a lot, especially in pass drops. I think that's what he's been really good at, in pass rush and stuff like that. But really just dropping in space, knowing what leverage to use, knowing where to drop 10 to 12 yards, and just the little details that we need to clean up from last year that's been making a big difference.
Has defense always been where you played? Growing up, did you flirt with the offensive side, and where did the love for playing along that defensive line come from?
So I kid you not, growing up, I played fullback, and I was just a little wrecking ball. Yeah. We was in I formation, either the B gap, A gap, C gap, any of that. I was just blocking for the running back, but that's really what I did. And I played blocking tight end, so I was really just a blocking body, nothing. Yeah. When I got a little older, I started playing a little running back here and there. But when I was like 5 or 6 years old, Kevon Glenn, he plays for Georgia Southern right now. That's like my best friend, and he was bigger than everybody. And we lived in the same cul-de-sac, and my coaches say, "This gonna be the king of the cul-de-sac." Mine, y'all is this big. In that practice, he just had the snot coming out my nose. He was hitting me so hard. And after that, I just wanted to hit people after that. I never wanted to be getting hit like that again. So I think that's where defense started coming.
A little bit of time left with Will Anderson, All-American for the University of Alabama. You and Bryce Young made a little bit of history last year as sophomores being team captains. But we wanted to ask you about this defense as a whole. You helped bring Dallas Turner along last year, even Drew Sanders, who's now moved on. How good can this defense be? There's so much experience back, and, of course, continuity with the staff.
Yeah, so much experience, so much talent, and the guys have been doing a great job of learning the plays. I think that's what we lacked last year, just mental errors. And, they've been doing a really great job of learning the plays. Like, I'm so proud of those guys. And I think this defense has the potential to be very special. And this 2016 defense, I think it can be just as good. We have the pieces. We just got to get everybody on board. So it's special.
I got to ask it because a lot of people want to know. It didn't end last year the way you guys wanted to. What's that feeling like in the stomach? What's the feeling like with the guys right now?
Oh, I mean, the feeling is, we know what happened. Everybody knows. We talk about it all the time. We try not to, hint too much on it, but we know, that feeling is still in our heart. So every day when we wake up and go to workouts and team runs, team lifts, 7-on-7, we know the feeling. So we just go out there every day and get better, and we never want to get that feeling again. So.
Well, we'll stay healthy, man. We can't wait to see what you've got for us in year 3 at Alabama. We've certainly seen what you've done in the first 2 years, which has been outstanding. But thank you for the time, and we look forward to seeing you this fall.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Will Anderson joining us here.
That is Will Anderson this morning. Can you imagine Will Anderson, the fullback? Mercy.
Man, he's a big dude. I stood next to him. When they were leaving, I guess, I was coming up the stairs, and I was like, whew, he's a lot bigger than he looks. Because he's kind of skinny when he got here.
Yeah.
He's not skinny anymore.
Jordan Battle, I'm sorry.
No, okay.
Jordan Battle was on with Tom Abraham earlier today.
Which, really comes to the table with some pretty good game here. How are you, young man?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I am fantastic. Are you enjoying going through the car wash?
I'm
Is this cool or what?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's been a great experience. Some funny questions.
Yeah. There always are funny questions. This one you may or may not have been asked about, and I just learned about this, so I'm going to ask you. You can refrain or you can answer. I think you can come with a straight answer because you can't get guys in trouble anymore, right? And nowadays we can't get guys in trouble. I hear Will Anderson has a Porsche. Is that true? Does Will have a Porsche?
I think he has a Porsche.
Does he? I think he has a Porsche. I think he just told Marty and McGee that he has a Porsche. Got to be some pretty good whips running around down there at the football facility, I would think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about when you get yourself, the way the season ended last year. You guys had a stunning win against Georgia in the SEC championship game. You're living that high. Then you turn around and boom, you got to play them again a month later in a national championship game. What was that like, that turnaround, knowing that, that was a monumental thing what you did in Atlanta, now you got to do it again?
Yeah, it was a great experience for us, but I feel like we got a little too comfortable, a little too complacent. 10 minutes left in the game, we were up. We let it get out of our hands. I feel like the main thing we needed to do is to refocus that team, but I feel like we didn't do that as much as we should have. And as a leadership group, that's what we're going to try to do this year. Try to refocus the thing on the end goal, the national championship. Try to bring together everybody, make sure everybody's bought in, and create that brotherhood that we need.
Did it take a minute last year to get to identify those leaders and get that thing rolling? Because you had Bryce as a sophomore, he was starting for his first game. Will Anderson was a sophomore. You guys were young, and it seemed like you'd lost some stud leaders from the year before. It felt like it took a minute for somebody to be identified or guys to kind of take that role.
Yeah, for sure it took a minute. We needed guys to step in that role, and it took a minute. But towards the end of the middle of the season, mid season,
you could see it.
Yeah, we had those guys that could do it, but I think by that time it was a little too late, especially from the year before where we had guys like Landon Dickerson, we had guys like Devontae Smith, guys like Patrick Tane who can do it, and I feel like we just had to come around as a team and just be able to be vocalized leaders, and I feel like that's the main thing we're doing this year. We're being more vocal, and the summers are going well. The younger guys came in and they're doing well as well.
Now you bring in a couple of more guys from the transfer portal, some studs on both sides of the ball. You guys got Eli Ricks in your room. They got some guys on offense that look good. The receiver looks good. The running back looks good. How do you get those guys up to speed as quickly as possible in terms of buying into the Alabama way? They think they know the Alabama way, but they don't really know Bama built until they're there. How do you get those guys up to speed?
Yeah. Those guys are doing very well. Jermaine Burton's doing well. Tyler Harrell is doing well as well. Jameer Gibbs, Eli Ricks, they're all bought in. Eli's learning the playbook. He's getting acclimated very quickly. He's going out there. He's performing well in 7-on-7, and he's doing good in summer workouts. And Jameer Gibbs has also been doing very well. He's my locker mate. He's right next to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we talk a lot.
So they don't bounce you. You guys aren't all defense and then all offense at the other end of the room. They let you guys.
It's a good.
That's
mixture.
cool. Yeah,
it's a good mixture for sure. I'm right next to Jameer Gibbs. We talk almost every day. We have classes together. So me and him have a great relationship.
Right.
I'm gonna have to try to talk to get more acclimated with Tyler Harrell and with Jermaine Burton as well. Been trying to talk to them as well. Me and Tyler Harrell can probably get out, go get some food. Jermaine Burton, just talk to them. Help them understand what it takes to be at Alabama, what the standard is, and I know Jermaine Burton coming from a great program as well, so he probably has it a little bit, but. Tyler Harrell, we have to get him acclimated because he's coming from outside of the conference. He's coming to the SEC, and just letting him know what the SEC is about and what it takes to be a winner.
I'll tell you what, Jordan Battle, sitting down with us for a couple of moments here, man. You got it going on. You got it going together. That's a good job by you. So you got coached up pretty well on this, and you brought it home.
That is Tom Abraham talking with Jordan Battle.
Little package. Small package.
No, not a big package.
Not a big package.
Small.
Abraham.
Small. It's Bama Day, day 2 here at SEC Media Days. So we usually have a round table on Bama Day, but the morning show has already
They were
skedaddled.
hungry. Yeah.
We appreciate Ryan Fowler sticking around.
It's good to hang out with you guys.
Small Package Junior.
Small Package Junior. Okay.
He doesn't want that nickname.
So give me a report, okay? We need the morning guys to. What's the spread look like? I mean, we're heading that way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to miss out on food.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, Scott Tyson may have something to say about that.
Yeah, they sent back. Don't miss this awesome spread. We're going to Mercedes for our listeners.
Yeah,
we're
right.
headed to the Mercedes-Benz now.
It's a media party.
Media party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, Steve. You got to look. I cannot do this interview without. Are you pulling my leg with good food? Because I got to get ready for this.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Okay, I thought you were.
not.
I thought you were going like.
No, I am.
This
I
is
am getting
crackers and cheese or something.
The recon team is reporting back.
And
Very positive.
Scott Tyson can work for the Food Network if he chooses to do
no
so.
question about that.
Let me tell you. Did you guys make it down for lunch?
Yeah.
That peach cobbler. Listen, Grandma's been dead for a long time. It's been a long time since I had an old-fashioned peach cobbler. That was pretty solid. I mean, that was Will Anderson caliber right there.
Whoa.
That was some great.
Well, we are in the Peach State, so
We are,
you ought to expect that.
Yeah.
Empire State of the South as well. But Georgia Day's tomorrow. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
Well, what did you take out of what Nick Saban said today?
Very focused as he always is. He brought a message.
What was his message to you? Because I missed it in the media room.
Well, I think he's still on the fair competitive balance. And he brought up, and he said this, and we've been saying it. Nobody needs to tell Alabama that they're part of the haves and the have-nots. He said we're one of the haves.
Yeah.
But he's taken up for the have-nots. I mean, there should be every coach out there listening, because every coach has talked about this, from Lane Kiffin. Mike Leach said it, I thought, better than anybody. He said, we're having a bidding right now in recruiting. He said, you have more parameters in the NFL than you have right now in college athletics.
True.
And I thought Mike Leach nailed it a couple different ways. But his message was about a continuation of that. There was no, fire. I think everybody wanted the Jimbo Fisher, but Nick Saban wasn't even going to touch that. He kind of talked about.
I can tell it bothers him. It does bother him. I can tell. You can tell. His voice changes.
You could see it.
Yeah. His voice changes.
Like, are we really talking about this?
No, I don't think it's just that. I think it's the fact of what Jimbo all said hurt him personally. Because I don't think he was personally attacking Jimbo.
Jimbo took it personally.
Well, everybody talks about what Nick said about Jimbo.
What he said was
What
awful.
Jimbo said about Nick Saban in Alabama.
Yes, and to me.
I mean, have you ever heard a coach say, "I want to slap another coach"? I've never heard that.
No.
Not publicly.
No.
Maybe in the locker room.
Well, actually, Jimmy Fuller did slap Brother Oliver when they were at Jacksonville State and Chattanooga.
Okay.
On the field. That happened. We've
well
got
chronicled.
Yeah, well
chronicled.
Okay.
So,
but I mean, those were on the same field, right? I mean, they were on the same team.
No. They were on opposite teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were.
They're opposite teams at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chattanooga and Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but I mean, he made some strong allegations.
Oh yeah.
And nobody's ever asked him about it.
Nobody's ever asked him to prove anything.
So
he has no proof.
I know a guy
of
that if he
anything.
can get a mic.
Fortunately, some days he has a mic.
I got some equipment.
Well, no, I'm talking about down on the main stage with Jimbo on Thursday. There's a couple of people that have got a couple of questions that I've heard that.
Well, that's going to be interesting. So I'm staying for sure.
The fireworks.
Yes.
The fireworks.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you look at this and we're still talking about it because. But I kind of wish it'd go away too. But what Jimbo, absolutely, what you said, what Jimbo said, nobody calls him out on it. I think it's ridiculous.
All right, I have not done the interview. Someone told me that Andy Staples did a big article about, and I don't have, if I subscribe to every subscription out there,
Right.
I'd be broke every month, right? Because there's just so many different subscription websites, and they all serve a role. Andy, which writes, I believe, for SI, and I think it's behind the paywall, but that he did a comprehensive report on how much money was spent for the signing class in Texas A&M. And it may not be, $30 million like some of the reports out there, but it's in double digits. And it makes sense when you look at this recruiting class. Texas A&M, has there ever been an 8-4 team that had that type of recruiting class?
Well, I'm not. So I don't think there's any question that the current state of football affected them in a positive way. I sound like Coach Saban, right? The way he answered the question, if you go back, somebody asked him, did you pay the players? And he said, quote unquote, we didn't break any laws in Texas.
Yes. That is what he said.
What does that mean?
That he didn't break any laws in Texas.
Yeah, so he never answered the question whether he paid any players, and nobody has called him on that. And I don't know if it's illegal or not. We go back and forth on that, and is paying recruits illegal?
Not right now.
Well, I think it is.
Just got a text message. These are always fun, right? Somebody sent me a reporter. He said, you got a minute? I got a really, really good story. If you've got a chance to talk on the phone, I'm going, what could be a story coming out of today? I mean, anyway, it's not an Alabama reporter, but it's probably about Alabama. I mean, why would they call me? But anyway, that's always fun. I mean, we call that radio teases.
I was about to say, I mean now, is it a national writer?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Huh. Oh. Sometimes you got to remember, in Tuscaloosa, we have what they call diggers too. And they'll call you like they got a story, but then what they're trying to do is dig to find out something else.
Yeah.
So those are the reports. But anyway, I'm excited about this football team. I think this team is going to be. Let's talk about an algebra equation. Okay, we're always, when we look at, plus, minus this, talent versus hunger. It's got to equal a championship, does it not?
Well, I mean,
that's my big takeaway.
You got to play
today.
the games.
You do.
You got to play the games. You can't say, hey, they should win, they could win, this or that. Too many things can happen. The thing about it is, right now they got to be worried about playing their first game. They got to get back, like he says. You can't look ahead. Now, on paper, they should win, but Georgia on paper all year they wouldn't lose a game. Favored by Alabama, got beat by Alabama.
Yeah, right.
So anything can happen. So you don't count your chickens.
No.
And you don't burn the cornbread, right? Because I remember hearing you. And Drew Armin on the air talking about what was the quarterback's name?
Tua Tagovailoa?
No.
Oh,
you guys said they should bench the quarterback from Mobile.
He went to Arizona, then he went to South Florida.
Blake Barnett.
Blake Barnett.
They should bench the quarterback. They ended up winning that championship and play Barnett.
Hey,
go ahead and play Blake Barnett.
I want to stake off Blake Barnett.
Well, I mean,
he had the deer in the headlights look after the first hit, but
after the first hit, he didn't. He was the best player I've talked about this on the air forever. Best player 7-on-7 I've ever seen. Then you put the defensive lineman in there, it's just a different story.
Yeah.
And really, I think they do too much 7-on-7 now. I mean, all these 7-on-7 camps, and I get some of it. I mean, it's to evaluate the quarterbacks and receivers, but how do you evaluate them until you see them under pressure, right? I mean, you got to go watch the film.
Well, and I had a guy from California who told me, he said, when I saw Alabama going all the way across the country for Blake Barnett, he goes, I scratched my head because I watched this guy play out in Southern California where there's quarterbacks everywhere. And he said, if they're going to come all the way across the country.
That's not how it works. So he went to camp. He goes to camp, not 7-on-7. He looked amazing.
Yeah, great
He's
point.
one of the best players, and they offered him. I mean, they don't care what other people think. I mean, that's what Coach Saban's done the whole time. He doesn't listen to what they think. He watches them and offers them, and it's worked out for him more than not. But my whole thing is, if Blake Barnett was all that, they would have never taken the second-string quarterback from Florida State. They would have never got him. When they got him, they thought he was going to play. They thought he was going to play 2 years, and Blake, the other Blake,
Sims,
beat him out, and had an incredible year thanks to Lane Kiffin.
He did.
I mean, the guy played great.
Which now, you know who I want to replace Coach Nick Saban if he ever stepped down 5-6 years from now? Could you imagine what Lane Kiffin would do with Alabama talent?
Well, we talk about we talk about co-eds. Or we talking about
Both
players.
Both. But all right, and I know it was yesterday.
Man,
but don't y'all see a different level of Lane Kiffin? It looks like.
So let's talk about who did Lane Kiffin's brother quit him last year.
No, I don't.
Lane Kiffin's brother quit him last year.
I see the same.
Who
Lane
was on his
Kiffin.
staff last year? His best friend left him last year.
That's why he bought a dog.
I mean, think about it.
Hey, that dog has got a great Twitter account. I mean, that dog has got. I wish I was good at Twitter, as good as Juice was as good as Twitter. I mean, Juice has got it, but all right, but
I don't see it.
All right, so I gotta pick Wes's brain here. How comfortable are you with this offensive line?
Well, I mean, so last year I said they had the best talent of anybody, and I think I'll go to my grave saying they did. They just didn't develop it. They never came together as a team. You had inconsistent play at left guard. You had inconsistent because of injuries until they put the boy in during the Auburn game at center.
Seth McLaughlin.
Seth McLaughlin, who got them lined up. I mean, got them on the same page.
Yep.
You know, one of the things. Okay, so it's just simple things. I explained this, I think, on your show. How they were doing NFL blocking, which is okay, but to me you got to do both. You got to man blocking, and NFL blocking is basically slide to the big guys. So when you slide, everybody, if the slide left, everybody gets the guy to the left of him. Everybody, okay. You slide right, everybody gets the right. So if a guy walks up in a gap, and you got 3, you only got 2 to block, they're going to slide to the gap, to the side where the guys walked up. Well, what Texas A&M did, and very effectively, they'd walk up the guy, they'd slide right, and the guy would back up and cover, and the other guy from the other side would come from deeper, and they were rushing 6, and 2 were unblocked because they didn't have enough people to block them. The back was going to the wrong side because they're sliding the wrong way. There you go. So it's kind of like one of those things where Seth McLaughlin, it didn't happen. And also the man fought. The guy, he doesn't have the most talent, but he plays very well. There's a difference. And I never thought, except for one game, did they play as a team, and that was in this
Mississippi State.
Well, not necessarily the Mississippi State game.
I remember what you said after the Mississippi State game, that if they play like that.
Yeah, but it was after against Georgia. God. They played unbelievable, and Georgia can say, well, we didn't do this. They did too. They were blitzing. The secondary didn't pick the guy up. Alabama had it confused, and really had them confused in the first half of the
national championship.
We just couldn't catch the ball.
Yep.
So, getting to your question, the offensive line, to me, is they have the talent there. Can they put it together? You know, I thought that I thought personally they didn't get there last year. I'm hoping this year they find the right 5. I think Coach Saban is looking for the right 5. And they're on campus. And then they got to play together once you get them. They got to grow. More than the left guard has to play more consistent. Against Auburn, you're 4th and 1, and you get blown back 2 yards, step off with the wrong foot, guy hits. I mean, just little things. I mean, if you weigh 305 and you step to a hole, I don't care what the other guy, he weighs 400 pounds. It doesn't matter. You step in the hole, you're low, there's no way. You just got to move him. You just got to not let him penetrate the defensive line. And if you're playing Auburn on 4th and 1, put me in, Coach. I can do it one more time, old as I am. Now, they're going to carry me off.
Right.
But it's so simple. And if you're not doing the little things, you're not being coached the little things, you don't have to coach an NFL player. I'm getting to our coach that was coached, to step off with the right foot. They know which foot to step off with. But
so how much do you think that was on Doug Marrone?
I think I don't know who it was on. I don't know why they rode the pony as long as they did, because there were other guys on that team. I think that, and listen, I'm not saying they didn't play the right guy every down. I think they should, maybe if somebody comes in for him, he realizes, hey, I got to do the little things. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how they'll be coached. I think it'll be different. I'm an optimist because I've seen the talent they have. I wish I had some of the ability these kids that come with the feet they have and the strength and the coaching and the different things. I think they'll five good ones, and I think they'll get better. And they have to grow. They're not going to be all that starting out and people, because you can't coach them what they haven't played against, and everybody's going to bring something different, and they're going to try to figure out Bryce out. So my question, I told Steve earlier to Bryce, I didn't like the questions asked him. The question I'd ask him straight up, I didn't ask what Steve asked him about his shoes. I'd asked him what he's doing and what part of his game does he think he need to be better to be a better player this year, because they're all watching film on him right now. They're all watching film on him, figuring out what he does well, and they're going to try to take it away. And they have all summer to put something together. And that's what they're going to do. What's he doing? And then, the 5 guys they have play in front of them, they're going to have to play as a team. And last year I didn't think that they were on the same page sometimes. And that was the biggest problem against Texas A&M. I thought they played well enough offensively to win. While they had the receivers running the wrong routes in national championship games, there's no excuse for that. And Coach Saban's pretty much said that. That's not the offensive line or Bryce's fault. So I thought they played well enough to win the championship game.
They were ahead in the fourth quarter.
Except for a receiver. So receivers catch their passes. Really, that's a blowout in the first half. Now I'm going to give Georgia some credit, here. In the fourth quarter, they outplayed Alabama in a big way.
And Saban told Kirby at the end of the game, he said, you
whipped our ass in the fourth quarter. And they did. And that's what Alabama's been doing to people for the last 100 years and had done to Georgia the last 5 times they played.
In the previous fourth quarters, it was always.
So, and I think that that needs to be fixed, right? That needs to be fixed because, to me, that was a meltdown on defense. And listen, they made –
that was a young team,
well,
too.
It was 3rd and 17, and Stetson Bennett throws a perfect strike as he's getting hit, by the way, on first down. On second, he was 2nd and 20, and that was the biggest play of the game. That changed the game a little bit. And Georgia was able to run the ball on that drive also for the first time. They were trapping – the inside trapping. I haven't watched the tape, so I for some reason, but it's embedded in my mind as I watched the game. They were able to run some inside traps on us that nobody tried to trap us all year, really, and with any success. And so my hat's off to Georgia. I'm not saying that, but Alabama had a chance to change the whole thing of the game was in the first half and catch some balls, and that's a different game.
Coach Wolford, Eric Wolford coming in from, and they call him Coach Wolf, and interviewed 3 offensive linemen on the current team. We did a name, image, and likeness deal with a local golf tournament there. They all brought him up, and I said, well, what's different about him? And he said, it's just a different technique that they're teaching. And he said, I don't know if it's a physical side of things, but J.C. Latham told me, he said, it's just there's something different about that. He said the first day he walked in, he took responsibility of how they played last year. And he pretty much said, at times we were embarrassed of the way that we played as an offensive line.
And it should have been.
And if you look at protecting the quarterback, there were 121 out of 130 teams in keeping sacks allowed. Now, that's with a mobile quarterback that can extend the play and escape. 121 in sacks allowed.
No, and listen, I was told some of those plays, though, were Bryce is calling the wrong slide.
Oh, he was? Okay.
So, I mean, it's everybody.
Sure.
It's the whole team. It's communication. It's getting everybody on the same page to protect them. And listen, they're gonna come after him again this year because they know what happens if you just sit back and watch him throw the ball. Right? I mean, he's a ninja. The kid's a ninja. I mean, he puts it on them, and he does it out of weird things. And I was yelling as loud in the Georgia game. I says, "Ninja, y'all can't do anything with that." He was total ninja that day. Listen, he had pressure on several passes, and he was getting hit as he throws the ball, but he seemed never to get hit hard.
Yeah.
Like poor Tua, it takes him. I mean, he takes licks, and everybody. You could hear the collective. Everybody quit breathing in the stadium until he got up, and a lot of times he didn't get up.
Right.
Yeah. Knock on wood. This kid hadn't.
Well,
he seems to never get hit. He has eyes, and he's ninja.
And something else I noticed about Bryce today, because I got up close to him during two different media appearances. He's put on a little bit of weight too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you could see, he told me on the air that he called it a failure last year. He said, in Tuscaloosa, we're not defined by individual goals. He said, yeah, we did some great things in certain areas, but he said the ultimate team goal was not accomplished. He said, so we have to grade out last year as a failure. And it just kind of hit me. It's like, are we truly allowing these guys to have fun? If we put so much pressure on winning the national title that's the only success, but, that's Nick Saban's fault, not mine. I mean, that's him. But I mean, he said that. He said that it was a failure, and I like what he said about the individual goals, and I did follow it up, and I asked him. I said, well, where can you improve? And he said, being a vocal leader, being more assertive in that locker room,
and that comes with age and the Heisman Trophy. I mean, both of them help.
Year 16.
Yeah. I mean, but he does sound like a veteran, though, when you talk to him. Like, and I know talking's not everything, but if you'll ask him a question, you get like a minute and 10 seconds. I've interviewed a lot of players in Tuscaloosa. There's not many of them that can stretch out a question for a minute and 10 seconds. Like Will Anderson's 15 seconds. And that 15 seconds is quality.
Yeah.
But Bryce
you're saying they went to Coach Stallings' school of answering questions?
Well, what I'm saying is it's in depth. I mean, he's not afraid to talk, and he almost says the right thing. So if he says that publicly, he's saying the right things behind the scenes, or we would think. I think
right. Oh yeah, but I mean, I never question. You meet his parents, just like thanks to you, we met Christian.
Christian Miller. Corey Miller.
Yeah.
Corey Miller. Yeah.
We met Corey Miller, Christian Miller's dad today, who was a 10-year vet in the NFL. Impressive.
Looks like he still plays.
Oh yeah, but when you, I think he'd be a defensive lineman now. But so
I'm gonna let him say that.
Yeah. So you look at the parents and the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree.
Have you guys ever featured Craig Young, his dad?
No.
But he's impressive.
You need to get him on, and I can help you. But it's the mental side of it. That's what
he's a psychologist, right?
Well, I don't know if he's a psychologist, but he definitely is the mind side of things. I don't know exactly.
I think he is a practicing psychologist.
No, he is a practicing therapist. I just don't think he's a psychologist.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. But he is on the mental side of that, and
man, he's impressive.
Yeah,
both his parents are impressive.
Well, and I asked Bryce if that came from Craig, the calm, cool. I mean, guys, this team was dead in Auburn. I mean, they were dead.
He's laughing on the final drive and smiling.
And
yeah.
I mean, look at it. I mean, it was like, where does that come from? Well, that didn't show up.
I'm going to tell you, that whole team fought because they were not playing well, and Auburn was playing awesome. And they fought on that last drive like they all did. I mean, you go watch the back picking up the linebacker who is a really good player for Auburn, and the Sanders is the one
And
picking him up.
realized,
He's all broke up, and he's fighting his butt off trying to keep him off the quarterback. I mean, it was
look at Jordan Battle getting Tank Bixby out of bounds.
Yeah.
If that
Oh,
play
yeah.
doesn't happen, you may not have the drive.
That's true. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody asked Jordan Battle about that.
No,
I mean, what a heads-up play. He literally pulled him out of bounds
Right.
and gave an opportunity.
Caught him too because he kind of
Yeah.
he got held a little bit on that play.
Yeah.
Not saying it should have been called. It should have been called anyway. But
You don't get that a call at Auburn.
no, you don't. You don't expect to get it. So I'm not. I'm sure we weren't holding on that last drive at all. So
We don't hold.
yeah. Anyway, but
It didn't help. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So the big takeaway from today is we probably, barring injury, Will Anderson will be the number 1 pick, and Jordan Battle, 3rd round, 2nd round maybe, great year, and Bryce Young. Where does he go in the draft?
Well, we know how people value quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Somebody will. And he'll probably be the number 1 overall pick because somebody needs a quarterback. I mean, those teams at the
So I
top.
think Will Anderson is going to be. I think Will Anderson is a generational player.
Go read, and I know we don't have time to get into it, but Daniel Jeremiah is somebody I think I told you about this, Steve.
Yeah.
He's got an article on NFL.com. NFL.com. He's the big, draft analyst that he also calls.
Took over from Mayo.
Yeah, right. And he's also the Chargers color analyst.
Yes.
So
yes.
very, very, very good guy. He literally wrote up in an article that he's the most explosive linebacker, edge rusher he's ever evaluated. He said it's crazy when you look at Will Anderson. He just off the charts. And he said, you know where he's most impressive at? He said on special teams plays. He said it's the way that he shows everything. Yeah, during the game, but he said on field goal block. He said it's like he's giving 100%, and the way that it was a good article, very, very good.
Thank you for stopping by, talking a little Bama with us as you normally do. And
it's Alabama Day.
That's right. That's right.
If you have any question, no offense, Steve, but you can find out who butters the bread of the SEC. Alabama. It's Alabama Day. It just, unfortunately, and I hope I'm pulling for energy tomorrow, but we'll see.
Are you?
The champs are they're here. Because I hope they run it around the field and circle it, and I hope they tape tomorrow and show it inside the locker room, and I hope that Jermaine Burton wears every ring they give him inside that locker room. Right? I mean, you know what I mean? Think about that dynamic.
That's been one of our main questions all year.
Does he?
And I think he wants to go from 300.
He wants to catch balls.
Yeah, he wants to catch balls, and Alabama throws the ball. George, he caught 30 balls all year.
Yeah, 496 yards total offense or receiving.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm so interested to see the dynamic of all the receivers, including the new ones. Was disappointed in the way last year's freshman class played.
Don't you think Coach Saban will use that, though? He's going to convince those guys that we lost a championship because the backups were not ready. And he's going to challenge these guys and say, this is going to be a talk for 10 years.
10 years, no question.
That those guys were ready. They were not ready.
No, they all they did was whine all year.
All year.
And they're freshmen.
And
Instagram. Yeah.
Give me the ball. And then when you get
the ball. Get a chance to get the ball, didn't do anything. Caught one pass. It was of any
run the wrong
routes. Yeah.
And Billy's lazy block. Oh, my.
I got a theory on that. We need to watch the tape. Well, one day we need to watch that tape together. I hadn't been able to watch it yet, but
I don't want to watch it.
I'm not.
We can watch that play, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. No. Anyway. Yeah.
Let's take our first time out. Thank you, Ryan. Had a conversation with David Cutcliffe. That comes up next. Back here along Radio Row. I feel like last man standing here along Radio Row. Earlier today, I got a little bit of an echo in here. But nonetheless, earlier today, it was a tad bit noisier when Wes and I visited with now a senior consultant over football for Greg Sankey, and that would be former Duke and Ole Miss head football coach David Cutcliffe.
Jim, didn't you come up to that? No. I thought you did.
No, there's a bunch of us neighbors running around, though.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of neighbors. And all built the same. That's a fact.
Yes. We're all wise.
Yes. That's a good thing to be.
Even my son played safety at Alabama. He was
you could put him on.
Yeah, he was he's wide too. He had shoulders like this.
I'm telling you, I would always in recruiting look at backs. And you don't have to be tall to be a big man. If you've got a nice back, you're a contact player. And that's the truth. I mean, I can tell you 46 years of eyeballing, I'd have some reason I might say, hey, look at that.
Well, Coach, I always admired you. You won everywhere you went. That's what I tried. Yeah, and I remember you left Tennessee. They had some bad years. You went back. They had a great year again, and then you left, and I always thought you'd go back. I know we talked a little bit about it it just wasn't the time.
I'm sure no one asked you about it.
Wasn't the right people in place administratively. That's one of the things that I've learned through the years is that you really have to have the right people administratively to make it work.
So, I had a son played at LSU, and I always said that would be the end. What would happen because of the administration. Yeah. And you have to. And he's absolutely right. If you don't have, it takes a team. The best thing to ever. Everybody gives Coach Saban a lot of credit, and rightfully so. What he's done is amazing, but it took the facilities that Mal Moore built while they were on probation.
I was getting ready to tell you that Mal Moore has done as much for Alabama football as Coach Bryant and Coach Saban.
I totally agree.
Because he made that bridge work. And, right up to the end, he passed away at Duke. I helped him get in there. Yeah. And I was over there seeing him every day during that difficult time. Oh,
it's horrible.
I told him face to face that. I feel better about me that I was able to look at Coach Moore and tell him without question he's a statue at the University of Alabama.
There's no question. And it was him. And also, you have to have a president. And the president was behind him 100%.
Yep.
and gave Mal the keys. And Mal gave the keys to the Ferrari and until then, really, except for Coach Stallings, who got it pulled in the right direction for a minute, it hadn't happened in Tuscaloosa. And it hasn't happened in Knoxville either.
No, you don't win because you're supposed to win. You have to have all of those people aligned, and you have to be given a Ferrari in this era. And what Mal did was maybe he didn't agree with everything Nick did and how he did it, but he let him do it. He was smart enough to know if this is going to work, it's got to be Nick Saban's program, not mine, not the president's. And the rest is history, as they say.
I noticed, I believe it was yesterday, walking over on the other side, we're on the second floor of the College Football Hall of Fame, the Bear Bryant exhibit. What did that mean, just to kind of reminisce a little bit of it?
Well, it was great. Just people, and of course that one I was focused on, but there's a lot of great coaches remembered there. But Coach Bryant influenced more people than on that board. That's a bit incomplete. There were great assistant coaches that made a difference in college football. One is Ken Donahue. Anybody that really understands Alabama football would understand why Ken Donahue was so important. and he was certainly a product of Coach Bryant's way of doing things. I actually had the good fortune of working with Coach Donahue when Coach Majors hired him, and he came in and we won the SEC, had a great run, won the Sugar Bowl against a great Miami team. And they're just, Coach Bryant's fingerprints were all over Ken Donahue.
Ken Donahue ran the defense that Alabama ran years before. That's what they ran in '92 with all the men up and blitzing. Ken Donahue had done that before to Miami.
No question.
And that's who really came up with that defense was Coach Donahue. It was just copied by Brother and Coach Stallings in the '92 game. That's a fact.
Don't tell Brother.
Well, and I had a lot of battles with Brother as an offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah.
He was my benchmark defensively as an offensive coordinator, and I was looking at Bill Oliver and Joe Kynes and Ken Donahue and some great ones, and that was the measure.
So my freshman year, we're playing Tennessee. It ended up being a track meet. It's in Birmingham. It was 1983. And
I was on the other side.
No, you were on the other side. That's why I'm getting to this. On 3rd and 10, you ran the damn counter option for a touchdown. 3rd and 10 with what was the
Tony Robinson?
Yeah. Why did you do that?
Because y'all were so fast defensively and overcommitted. We had held that out. We called that 48-49 option, which was a counter, and I mean, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
It's 3rd and 10, Steve.
But you know what? Why would we want you guys to rush the passer, sack the quarterback, ball comes loose, scoop and score, game's over the other way, right?
You've seen that happen so many times.
Yeah, and so I think, being a little bit unpredictable is always called for, but not just on a whim. So that's a back pocket opportunity. People often become very predictable on 3rd and 10 what front they're going to be in.
Right.
Which is
nobody for the pitch guy, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You didn't have the numbers.
No, nobody for the pitch guy. Pitched 3rd and 10, 75 yards, I think it was.
Yeah.
Touchdown. 3rd and 10. Fourth quarter now. Ran the counter option.
And we ran a little bit of in that game. We ran a little bit of outside veer too, which we hadn't done, had success running the football. But I often believe that a lot of defensive coordinators become more predictable on 3rd and long than any other down. And so I had one. I'm not going to mention his name in the league that. He was sure we were going to 4 wides. I would start 2 receivers in off the sideline on a 3rd and long. And they immediately went to dime personnel, and they got in a really bad front. Well, I'd run 2 receivers off. And we would line up in the high formation. Boom,
And you used to run the inside trap.
Yes.
It was a big play for you.
Big play.
Oh, I mean, it was predictable. I mean, I used to see it like, oh, God, here it comes. I mean, and he was very successful. It is simple. A simple play. Every middle school team is running
no question. And it's still a good football play. The reason it's kind of gone away is that when you're not under the center, the timing and the gun. One of the things in the run game is you see quarterbacks having to reach and catch, and particularly on run plays. If a center's blocking back, or like he would have to on a guard quick trap,
the balls.
So a bad snap, timing, it's kind of taking the play away. And it's defenses. People ask me, well, why aren't you under the center? Well, it's protection purposes because you've got 2 A gaps. And you got faster linebackers than we've ever seen. So I just made the decision years ago to go gun because we got to protect the quarterback. Now, we have found different ways to run in football, but it's difficult. It's not as easy to run the ball when you were under the center. And but that's kind of been the fun part of watching. You got to have that athletic quarterback, but you also got to have ability to throw the ball. You got to it's a chess match, and of course I can't lie and say I don't miss that chess match some, because y'all get me fired up right now. But I'll tell you a funny story. Tennessee, we had a center that was a pretty funny guy. And Kurt Jarvis was the nose, powerful guy.
Very.
This may have been 85 or I don't know. But anyway, greatest line I've ever heard. So we had built up Kurt Jarvis to Todd. Said, man, you're going to have your hands full. He said he got down first play and he got over the ball and he looked down and he said, well, his legs aren't that big. They were telling, and then he looked down and he said there was a hand on the end of his legs.
So Kurt Jarvis had to have his pants specially made because no pants they could have fit him in his legs.
Oh, was he powerful?
Yeah, he was.
But that was the best line I've ever heard. His legs aren't as big as Coach Cut said. He said, then I saw there were hands attached to it.
Well, I watched that tape of the '83 game.
Yep.
And you know who I was playing against?
Who?
Reggie White.
Yeah.
And I'm a freshman.
That's not fair.
No, wasn't fun.
No, that's not fair.
We got him pretty good at times, but he got us real.
He that year became a great player. He had been a good player.
Yeah.
But that was the Reggie. I'd never seen him work. And it really was, as a younger coach, convinced me that even with great talent, without the work ethic, there's no shot. And he became, in my opinion, the best player in college football that year.
Well, he made some plays blocked that were incredible. I mean, in other words, the play's going to the right, it's a sweep. I block him to the point where he comes around, he ran down the sweep from the backside, just hustling.
He was at the slowest, a 4.6 flat 40 at 305 pounds.
Yes.
He was way before his time physically.
And he picked me up off my feet. Now, there's maybe two people ever could do that. He was one of them. And God put me back down, thank God. Because he did the hump move. I mean, because he would grab you under your arm with one arm and lift you off of your feet and then throw you and then straight to the quarterback.
You ought to have seen him on a basketball court, how athletic and fluid he was. And may he rest in peace. I brought him in when I was at Ole Miss, and he spoke to our team. And he spoke of character. He spoke of his senior year preparation. He spoke of all the right things and did such a beautiful job. And then afterwards, we're sitting in my office talking, and he kind of teared up a little bit, and he just wasn't sure post-football
what his job was.
He knew he was a godly man, called the minister of defense. Yes. But I'll never forget my heart bleeding, and when I got the call that he had died in his sleep, I'm like, no, because he had so much to give. And
I remember where I was when I heard it, because I always respected him so much as a player and then later as a man.
Well, I had pro offensive linemen tell me that they really understood what it would be like to be hit by a train after playing against Reggie, and that's what you're describing.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it was, you could do everything right, it might not matter. If he got his hand up under your arm, you were in big trouble.
Yeah, that game down there, also Coach Majors told me after the game, I don't know whether he was kidding or not, now he's gone, but he said, I hired you here to beat Alabama. If we hadn't won, I was going to fire you.
But, it was offensive. The final score was 42-35.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was Kerry Goode's first game to start.
Yeah.
And he played unbelievable.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, he was a difference maker because, Paul Caruth, God love him, and he was a really good fullback in the NFL, but he played our running back, and so holding the block for him and Kerry Goode were two different.
Kerry Goode was a difference maker.
He was,
and we had two really good backs, and we utilized them well that day. But I tell you, I think Alan Cockrell was our quarterback.
Yeah,
I blew that.
He was, yeah.
But anyway, he looked me right in the eye and said that, and I'm like, what? you know, and I went and told, you know, some people afterwards that I don't think he was kidding.
I do.
Well, Coach, I know we'd love to get you back, talk more football with you. Thank you so much for your time, and
That's
thank you for
great.
what you have meant to so many people here in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, I appreciate that, but also thank you guys. This doesn't work if we're not all collectively into this. We're all concerned about college football. We got the greatest fans on earth in the Southeastern Conference. You guys dedicate your time reporting it. We all collectively, coaches, players, media, we got to get this thing right. So let's get rocking together and make it happen.
Thank you,
all right?
Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Coach.
That is David Cutcliffe from earlier today. Day 3 begins early tomorrow morning with the Arkansas Razorbacks. The defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs are also on the docket tomorrow, as are the Florida Gators under new administration. And one of the